We're broadcasting live from our studios at number 5, Ula Hansen Lane, Tesano, Accra. My name is Nanatufo Boateng. Coming up. Supporters of NDC celebrate James Gyakye Quayson's victory in Asin North by-election.
Because of the money they were sharing counterfeit, 200 Ghana cedis. That provoked the people to vote for Gyakye Quayson.
Still ahead, Nagrat blames St. Monica's school management for students' death and calls for accountability.
Some as teachers, we are uncomfortable with it. For example, as you and I speak today, you cannot cane a student in a senior high school or any school in Ghana. That is the new law.
Also coming up, 6 more Western Togoland Restoration Front members handed jail sentences for attacks on police stations. And later, President Akufo-Addo vows to revive Ghana's ailing economy.
Fellow Ghanaians, in the spirit of Eid, I ask you to continue to support the government, your government, to deliver the needed progress and prosperity.
The show is interactive. You're welcome to join us with your thoughts, your comments, and contributions via the WhatsApp number, also on Twitter, and of course YouTube, where we're streaming live on CityTube. In studio with me is Jude Mensah Duncan. Good morning, Jude.
Good morning, Nana.
Always good to see you.
I mean, same here. It's always a pleasure being here, having to go through the big stories of the day.
You're looking sharp as always.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into the stories of the day, and we start off with the by-election, the just ended by-election from Asin North, where we're having supporters of the NDC revel in the victory of James Gyakye Quayson.
And after a resounding endorsement from constituents, supporters of the National Democratic Congress, DNDC, in the Asin North constituency believe that justice has been served for James Gyakye Quayson. In the by-election, Mr. Quayson secured a commanding victory over his fiercest rival, Charles Opoku, of the New Patriotic Party, DNPP. Our correspondent, Calvis Tete, has more in this report.
The by-election in Asin North was expected to be more competitive than what was recorded in Kumau, even though the power balance in Parliament was a major consideration in the lead-up to the polls. The focus appeared to be on whether the constituents will use it as a reaction to the many legal battles instituted against James Gyakye Quayson. The competitive nature of the election was evident in how the Asin North constituency was literally taken over by political actors who matter in the country. Days to the polls, President Akufo-Addo, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, former President John Dramani Mahama, national and regional executives of the main political parties were present in the constituency, actively campaigning for their respective candidates. Up until close of voting, it appeared the race was a dead heat one, as the two major contenders, James Gyakye Quayson and Charles Opoku, toured various centres in confidence. However, the lines were drawn moments after the polls and results from the polling stations began trickling in. It became clear that James Gyakye Quayson had maintained his dominance in the constituency just as he did in 2020. It was all joy as most polling stations as the NDC members jubilated at the trend of winning various polling stations.
The victory of the NDC is coming again, and the people say, hey, hey, Joe, Bodo, 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 and the people say, hey, Joe, Bodo.
The Coalition Centre was full of NDC sympathizers, with NPP persons visibly absent, which the NDC deemed as an indication of the admission of defeat. Member of Parliament for Buim, Kofi Adams, who was in the constituency to support the party's candidate, explained what the victory meant to the NDC.
You know, in 2016, we lost both presidential and parliamentary. In 2020, December, we won parliamentary and lost presidential to the New Patriotic Party. This time round, we have done so well. Our votes reduced this by-election by less than 200. Whilst MPP lost more than 2,000 votes as compared to what they got in the year 2020 December. So it should tell you something, that there's a trend. And I'm happy for the trend, and I'm happy that our strategy we adopted has worked for us. We just need to correct it, check a few things, and see how we can adapt it and push it to the national level and prosecute our 2024 campaign, adapting some of those strategies.
The election was observed by the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers. It was described generally as an improvement compared to previous election. However, issues of vote buying, firing of gunshots and alleged intimidation were some of the mishaps identified. But the national coordinator of CODEO, Albert Kofi Annan, in an interview with City News, praised the Electoral Commission for a good job done and urged the EC to work towards perfecting their processes.
It has been a very successful election. We CODEO sometimes operate by looking at the setup of the whole process. That is how the Commission starts the election process. Then we look at the voting, and then thirdly, we look at the counting and the declaration of results. With regards to the setup, we look out for how the polling station layout is, the comportment of the people or the staff who are going to conduct the election, and these were all done excellently. They went through the process by showing to the people the number of ballots issued to the station, the number of people that are going to work there, the ballot boxes empty, shown, and all that. And then again, you will find out whether the process was started on time. We're supposed to start elections at 7 o'clock. And throughout, our people are telling us that wherever they went, the process started on time. And that is what we actually want. And then you also go into whether the process itself was okay. The balloting. Did anybody complain that the name wasn't in the register? We never had anything like that. That means the PVDs were working.
The EC at about 10 p.m. on Tuesday declared the results in favor of James Gyakye Quayson.
In the person of staff proposal of the New Patriotic Party, secured 12,630 votes. Candidate number 2, Stephanie Bennett Enyonam of the LPD, secured 87 votes. Candidate number 3, James Quayson, secured 17,245.
Elated Gyakye Quayson could not hide his joy as he expressed appreciation to the people of Asin North.
I stood for justice and development, and I haven't swayed at all. I'm still going to be pursuing the same agenda because that's the mandate that Asin North people have given me. No, this is a victory not just for myself, it's for the people of Asin North, and in fact for the country Ghana. Hopefully one day we'll pursue a good direction of justice, and also to realize that politics is not about sharing money to citizens and
he made during the campaigning period.
He's free to express his own opinion, as he said. I didn't hear it myself. I was told, and you have just re-emphasized on that. But again, I was a bit disappointed to hear that. And I know he's a lawyer, and the fundamental belief or value of legal system, you're innocent until proven guilty. So for him to say that, I think it's not a qualified statement.
Meanwhile, President Akufo-Addo has congratulated the National Democratic Congress for emerging victorious in the by-election. The president, who prior to the polls was confident of the NPP emerging victorious, in a statement indicated that the outcome of the polls strengthened Ghana's democratic credentials. The losing party, the New Patriotic Party, NPP, who has also congratulated the NDC's James Gyakye Quayson, say lessons have been learned. NDC flag bearer and former President John Mahama, in a statement, however, expressed appreciation to the people of Asin North.
James Gyakye Quayson has been re-elected as Member of Parliament for Asin North. Let's bring you a wrap of activities on election day, that's by-election that happened on Tuesday.
Meanwhile, some residents of Asin North on Wednesday marched through principal streets in the constituency to celebrate the victory. There is more in this report.
Following Tuesday's final declaration by the Electoral Commission, jubilant supporters of the National Democratic Congress flooded the streets of Asin North to celebrate their victory. James Gyakye Quayson, representing the NDC, emerged triumphant with 17,245 votes, commanding 57.56% of the total count. Charles Opoku, the candidate for the New Patriotic Party, secured 12,630 votes, constituting 42.15% of the ballot cast. Sefenu Benizenyonam, the candidate from the Liberal Party of Ghana, received 87 votes, representing 0.29% of the overall count. The supporters of the National Democratic Congress in Asin North expressed their satisfaction with the election result, stating they believe that James Gyakye Quayson will bring the much-needed development to the constituency.
We are jubilating because of the Quayson has won. We are jubilating because Honorable Gyakye Quayson has won.
So, do you believe Gyakye Quayson is the man to transform this constituency?
Yes, because of the money they were sharing. They were sharing counterfeit, 200 Ghana cedis. That provoked the people to vote for Gyakye Quayson.
So, you took the money and then you voted for James Gyakye Quayson?
Yes, we want development. We want development, not money. We don't want money. We want development. That is why we voted against them.
2024 campaign, they should use that money for development. Because if they think that they are hoarding money to come and buy vote, Asin North is telling them that they should start doing development. Otherwise, we will take the money, but we will not vote for them. In fact, this is my advice. If MPP want to have a vote in Asin North, they should cancel the court case. If they pursue the court case, they are finished. There will be no MPP in Asin North. We are waiting for them. If they pursue the court case, 2024, they shouldn't even come here.
Meanwhile, supporters of the New Patriotic Party remain optimistic, anticipating a strong comeback from their candidate, Charles Opoku, in the 2024 elections.
Yes, we be Salas and cool. And 27th and 28th. And they be a cool, Mamma.
Would you say, question about Punto?
Course, Yabana, dear. I course. What's the Adibo? Your friend 90 to 90%. But we are 95%. And put your matter. And put your matter. Because the star so poku on Abuama. And put you to me, Mablikuda. Chaso poku. All do not put you on a back from her.
Honorable Jokwesi, I bet what they see before. My idea. And you will be awesome, and I'm the master of Sabia. What did they say? I'm here. One about Charles Opoku. They say, young Coco, ever training, sir. I'm a sin of France. Or Baby Biamay. Or Baby near Piso. I'll be Biamay.
Must have been a victory party for the NDC, yesterday being a holiday. And of course, with the victory of James Gyakye Quayson in the Asin North by-election there. But really interesting times ahead. This is a by-election that is coming just about, a year and a few months to a general election. Some lessons can be drawn from one, the conduct of the exercise itself, and of course, the strategies that two main political parties deployed in a bid to capture the seats.
I mean, the NDC will look at this and be very pleased with the results, and to a large extent, they'll see it as a moral victory for the party going into the 2024 general elections. Why am I saying this? Because if you look at a quick comparison of the 2020 election result as compared to what we witnessed in the by-election, even though the votes for James Gyakye Quayson reduced by about 100 and something votes, the percentage increased, and you saw quite a significant reduction of votes for the MPP. So those look at this and say, well, this looks really good for us. And if we can replicate this in other constituencies or at the national level, then we are set to come into government come January 2025. So they'll look at this as a moral victory and try to re-energize their base going forward. I mean, I think the conduct of the election was quite okay as compared again to some by-elections we've seen in the past. Kumewu an outlier because that was clearly a relatively safe seat for the NPP, even though the NDC also argues that if you make a comparison to the 2020 election, the votes
and the votes they garnered
exactly it helps in their cause. So twofold, I think you want to commend the police, you want to commend the EC. Like the president said, this is another feather in the cap for our democracy, our young democracy. I mean, it shows how far we've come as a country, and I hope in the coming years and in the coming weeks we are able to safeguard it really. My only concern had to do with what appeared to be some tensions during the day. So we heard of some gunshots here and there. We heard about some unknown faceless macho men trying whatever, but for some reason the police were able to keep that in check. So I think it's good. But in the coming weeks, it will be interesting how the criminal case against Honorable James Gyakye Quayson plays out. I mean, the perjury and forgery case currently
being actually filed an appeal at the appeals court today for stay of proceedings on the order by the High Court judge for his case to be heard on a daily basis.
Yeah, so I mean, that will also be interesting how that particular one plays out. So when a ruling comes on the case, it would change the dynamics in the area again. We had some NDC members in Asin North during their jubilation say that the MPP should just stay away from the case because it will further worsen their chances in there. So all of these dynamics will be interesting how it plays out. But my key takeaway from Asin North by-election is that it's another win for our young democracy, and I hope we are able to safeguard what we have and build upon it.
Attention, the issue of vote buying, very dominant. But what struck me the most was complaints by the NPP of intimidation. and at that point, I got the feeling that more or less they had conceded.
Yeah, I mean,
because for the party in power, an incumbent to complain of intimidation.
Yeah. I mean, that is how you know someone is losing ground or a candidate in an election is losing ground. And when it comes from no mean other person than the general secretary of the party, then it means that it's pretty much a serious situation. I agree with you. I mean, issues of vote buy came to the fore at this election. Some political commentators would say that that's actually what inured in the benefit of the NDC, in that the show of opulence really to some people was not welcoming at all, right? So it's something that you have to guard against, and it was one too many complaints really about some 200 cities being given away and so many other things. I think these are actually some of the things you also have to guard our democracy against. And for me, I'm glad that in the end, the voters were not persuaded by whatever material gains they were getting, but they went all out in who they thought could help them to improve the standards and their living condition in that constituency.
I think the Ghanaian voter is more aware now, more discerning able to take decisions irrespective of the financial influence.
Yeah, I hope we get to that point, but I think there are also other constituencies where those kind of motive is still entrenched right? You still have areas in the country where people vote based on some want of a better tribalistic lines, right? But I think the idea of democracy is that at the end of the day, everybody's opinion and views count. Yeah, but I think our political parties need to really look at the whole election machination process they put together, because I don't think it is feasible and it is something that you can sustain in the long term. I mean, how many people are you going to give 200 cedis to for the rest?
Well, we've seen both parties make some attempts to revise their constitution with respect to the electoral colleges they have. But you see, it's an issue of trust and mistrust. I can't trust you not to give. And so I also go and look for someone to give in order to secure the seat. But anyways, I mean, fallouts from the by-election there. We've seen the report by the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, and they are calling for some investigations into the few incidents that occurred in Asin North during that by-election. The accusations of intimidation, accusations of vote buying, and that clash where we saw some vehicles vandalized. Let's now take you to the Ashanti region, where there is a reported death of a student of St. Monica's Senior High School. The National Association of Graduate Teachers is unhappy with management of the school.
The president of the National Graduate Association of Teachers, NAGRAT, Angel Kabonu, has blamed the death of a female student of the St. Monica's Senior High School in Mampong in the Ashanti region on the school's management. One of the house mistresses of the boarding school is said to have turned away the deceased after she approached her for an exit to visit home for medical attention. The management of the school has, however, been interdicted pending probe since the incident happened in May 2023. Angel Kabonu slammed the management of the school for refusing to grant exit to the sick student, which supposedly led to her untimely death in the school. The president of NAGRAT questioned the gains the house mistress sought to achieve by refusing to grant the said student the exit. He further took a dig at teachers who turn away sick students who request for exit, describing the incident as unfortunate in an interview with City News.
The girl died in the school. The parents complained that the girl asked for exit, and the girl was not giving the exit. But I was cautioning my teachers to be very careful and err on the side of caution. That as teachers, we want to have a perfect environment. We want to have a disciplinary institution. In doing that, when something happens, the teacher is held liable, like has happened at St. Monica's. The Ghana Education Service is giving us a set of rules for us to follow. Some as teachers, we are uncomfortable with it. For example, as you and I speak today, you cannot cane a student in a senior high school or any school in Ghana. That is the new law. But some teachers have gone their way to exact caning punishment, which in the end it resulted in death. Those teachers, as we speak, are in trouble. A teacher in Eastern Region was committed to prison custody just because a student died after he has caned the student. A parent comes to a school and says, look, this weekend I need my daughter home. It is, you can certify that this is the parent of the child. Why should the school deny the child going home with the parent when the parent demands that I want to go home with my child for this and that a reason, and I'll bring her back to school to go to school on Monday, or so on and so forth. I am cautioning my teachers. I am advising my teachers. Don't play God. Don't indicate that you love the students more than the parents who gave birth to the students. The convent type of boarding house that was practical and effective in the 60s and the 70s is no longer practical and effective in the year 2023. My main purpose is to caution my teachers to err on the side of caution.
So the actual incident happened in May, where that student unfortunately lost her life. We know that the management of the school has been interdicted pending a probe, but the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, whose president we just heard, Angel Kabonu, has done their own investigations into the matter, and these are the findings they are putting out, for which reason he seems to have an issue with the management of the school and how they handled the entire issue.
I mean, Nana, it's a very painful one. I mean, to send your ward to school for them to lose their life in a very tragic manner like that can be very painful and devastating to the family. So our sincere condolence to the family of the young lady who lost their life under such circumstances. I mean, Nana, we've been through the system before, so I mean, we understand it better. I mean, back in Accra Academy, there were quite a number of times this similar thing played out, only that it didn't have a very, very terrible ending like this, where teachers, for some reason, refused to grant an exit for a sick student to go to the hospital. Thankfully, we had the Cocoa Clinic nearby in Accra Academy, so it was much easier. Maybe a good Samaritan teacher would probably drive the sick person there and all of that. But there are also times where students would want to misbehave with trying to get an exit for other reasons under the pretenses of being sick.
It's quite worrying, because if you know where St. Monica's is, just behind St. Monica's is the Mampong Hospital.
Yeah, and it segues right into the point I'm coming to make about the fact that why are we not having proper, well laid out infirmaries in our schools? I mean, in basic school where I was, St. Teresa's School, we had a sick bay and a qualified nurse in the school at all times. Is it because it's privately run? I mean, so for me, I struggle to understand why, after all these years, in major secondary schools in the country, we don't have proper sick bays, we don't have proper infirmaries. And for me, the call is that we should now begin to look at it again, where we have qualified nurses run shifts at these infirmaries. You could probably get qualified nurses from nearby health centers. So if the school is located near in an area that has like a health hospital, a clinic, maybe a nurse a day would run the shift at particular times, right, to help deal with these issues when they come up. But I think it's about time we get that. And we should stop just looking for some ragged structure somewhere that will put paracetamol there.
We and prioritize.
Yeah, we should prioritize it, right, and we should make it proper. And these calls have been long, from getting in place proper counseling centers in our senior high schools to getting in place proper infirmaries, right? I think the focus over the years has been on tuition and has been on feeding, right, to the neglect of these other important areas that all come together to ensure a holistic development of the child in a school. So I think the GS should take it up seriously. NGOs within the educational space should also take up this advocacy. We in the media will continue to push for some of these things, and I think NAGRAT, the call from Angel Kabonu is sound, it's proper, and I hope the teachers will adhere to it. You don't love the students more than the parents at home, right? And in any case, who is taking care of the child? So I hope we use this as a learning curve, really, in the future.
Well, one more thing we need to pay critical attention to is the records of the various students under our tutelage, especially the medical records, and know what conditions or not a student suffers or otherwise. And this helps in how we deal or handle particular students. A person may have a serious allergy, a person may have whatever condition it is. That person should not be treated like as any other ordinary student.
Totally
so we need to pay particular
attention,
in the boarding house. Especially in the boarding house, yes. We need to pay particular attention to the medical records of the various students under our tutelage. You're still watching CNR Extra here on City TV, still to come. 6 more Western Togoland Restoration Front members handed jail sentences for attacks on police stations. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back with the details.
We are back. Wines of South Africa, Rossa, is back in Ghana for the biggest wine show ever. Date, Saturday 15th July at the Labadi Beach Hotel, Accra. Time, 7 p.m. sharp. Wines of South Africa Grand Tasting Event 2023 is proudly brought to you by Wines of South Africa and John Williams Consults Ghana. This event is sponsored by Ghana Export Promotion Authority and Best National Bank. Partners, South African High Commission, Accra, South African Airways, and Labadi Beach Hotel. Media partners, AmayalDebra.com, CTFM, CTTV, Voyage Afrique Magazine, and Ovation Magazine. Don't miss out on this extraordinary event by securing your tickets now at bossa2023.eventbrite.com or call 0553-271-032. Remember to come celebrate with Wines of South Africa, Saturday, 15th July 2023, 7 p.m. at Labadi Beach Hotel, Accra. Wines of South Africa, welcome to our world of discovery. Strictly by invitation and reserved for 18 years and above.
You're welcome back. This is CNR Extra here on City TV. Join us with your thoughts, your comments, and contributions via the WhatsApp number on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube at CityTube. From the courts, some 6 more members of the Western Togoland have been handed various jail sentences. Let's give you the details in this clip.
6 more members of the Western Togoland Restoration Front have been handed jail sentences in hard labor for some offences committed during the group's attack on police stations in Mepe and Aveyibe. The release of suspects on remand, stealing of police ammunition and blockage of Japon and Sogakope roads. 5 of them were convicted in March this year and handed the maximum sentence of 5 years each for their involvement in the activities and being members of the separatist group. But in a separate trial, 6 others have been given varying punishments for their involvement in those same activities. Lawyer for the accused persons prayed the court to consider the fact that the accused have been in custody for the entire duration of the trial and have shown remorse for the actions and not impose a custodial sentence. Prosecution, however, opposed this, arguing that the actions were inimical to the peace of the country and asked for a deterrent sanction. The court agreed with prosecution and decided to hand a deterrent sentence to the accused persons.
Well, the law has taken its course, and if you engage in some of these activities and you're caught, and it is proven in court that really you are guilty of the charge, then it's just fair that the law deals with you as it should.
I mean, we have called for a very cautious government approach in dealing with the secessionist group because of largely the spillover effect it could have, right? You don't want to be seen as too lenient with them, and you don't also want to be seen as using excessive force. Some have even called for proper dialogue and negotiation in the process, right? So that's core of government treading cautiously, dealing with them, has been quite hammered on by the public and well-meaning Ghanaians. But you see, the line is where you take the law into your own hands. You storm a police station like they did in Aveyibe, or a community in Mepe and Aveyibe here, where they release suspects on remand, they steal police ammunition, and they block the Japon and Sogakope road. I mean, that's purely criminal, right? You when you take the law into your own hands and attack people who are supposed to be defending you, then the law must act. So I think the jail term is in order, if you ask me, and I hope that within the period where they serve with hard labor, like the court said, it will lead to some reformation and some renewal of mind, and they'll come back still fit for society and more law abiding, right? I don't think we should condone any group, for whatever reason, storming police stations, taking ammunition from the police, freeing suspects. That's anarchy, and we don't want to get that as a people.
I agree with you totally. Now, you know one of our biggest problems in this country?
Tell me.
How we deal with waste.
True.
Especially plastic waste.
I agree with you.
And it's one of the biggest forms of pollution we are seeing in the country. Let's take a look at this. When we come back, we'll have a conversation about it.
In the world of climate action, stakeholders are joining forces to demand stronger commitment from the government in tackling the pervasive issue of plastic waste. Activists engaged in innovative solutions using plastic waste emphasize the urgent need for attention to the country's current plastic pollution crisis. My colleague Fred Duho has more in this report.
Recent statistics reveal that Ghana generates approximately 1.7 million tons of plastic waste annually, with a meager 2% being recycled. The remaining plastic waste ends up in the landfills, blocking drainage systems and polluting water bodies. The concerning rate of plastic waste generation can be attributed to population growth, urbanization, and the widespread use of single-use plastic products. On a sunny holiday afternoon, beachgoers flocked to Accra's beaches, disregarding the dire plastic situation as they plunge into the polluted ocean to cool off.
The rubbish, they have to clean it and take it here, because here the place is place of people, so they have to take this rubbish. We don't have to sit inside rubbish the way we are sitting here, and this rubbish is not good.
Many believe it is the government's responsibility to utilize tax revenues from plastic products to combat this mountain filth.
Even when you come to the beaches, you are not enjoying anything, because snapping pictures is making everything dirty. When you are snapping pictures, it's not encourageable, and it's giving malaria, a lot of sickness, diarrhea. When even entering the water is not even making people to enjoy it.
Regulating plastic waste has proven challenging in Ghana due to limited resources, inadequate waste management infrastructure, and a lack of public awareness. Changing attitudes towards waste disposal has been an uphill battle, resulting in plastic waste littering streets, open spaces, and water bodies, exacerbating the environmental impact.
CISA has a two meaning: to collect and also to change into CISA, then CISA. So you have to collect, so you change your behavior, and then you collect it. So when you collect it, that's when you also come in to collect this material, the plastic bottles, which are also raw materials to us and also to other people, where we are able to transform them into other uses.
Christopher Mensah, CEO of CISA Recycling Company, explains his motivation for venturing into recycling.
We have a vision and a mission to eradicate poverty through the collection of these bottles. There's been a couple of times that one wants to probably withdraw from the sector, but then looking at the passion where you have to move each and every day, you have to talk to almost like 20-30 people, asking questions here and there. So I would say it's about the passion that has been driven, because starting from probably from the secondary school to now, it's not an easy journey. So you start from somewhere where you are being pushed before you get to where you are now. Because when we started CISA, it was not like this.
Plastic pollution's environmental effects extend beyond Ghana's borders, impacting ecosystems, wildlife, and human health. Plastic waste in water bodies contaminates aquatic habitats, leading to the death of marine life and posing a threat to the fishing industry. CISA recycles plastic by transforming it into raw materials for industrial use, including fiber and hair products. CISA also utilizes a digital model to track and compensate plastic pickers, empowering them through digital payments.
In terms of the plastic recovery, it's a huge market, but then there's no revenue coming out of it, because we have to spend a lot of money in terms of, because we don't take the materials for free. We buy the materials to at least to motivate people, because at CISA Recycling we use a digital platform where we capture data in terms of the location, the name, and other information, the phone numbers, so that we're able to tell that we're able to pick this location materials from specific locations from one point to the other. So moving from the collection Also, in terms of revenue generation for maybe wages for workers, currently we are doing casual for people. So when you come is when we mark you. So they're able to check, because currently we don't have funds coming in. It's the same materials that we are using to cater for other expenses as well. So we keep moving, but because our main focus is to help eradicate poverty, we are not much focused more on the profit aspect, but then to make more impact to ensure sustainability.
Most of the employees at CISA's recycling factory are women above 18 years old. They share their reasons for joining the recycling value chain.
Since there are no jobs, even this one is also a job we are doing, but you see, there are better jobs out there. But this is called recycling. This is what you do. You take a bottle, you remove the label and then the cover, then you separate the white ones and then the blue ones from the colored ones. That's the green and then any other colored one in one sack. Then you separate the white one too.
So doing this job, for how long have you been doing it?
Oh, just recently, for like about a month. Yeah.
And how lucrative is it in terms of payment?
Oh, it's good because you know everyone needs money, and then as the Bible says, inside any need money. So once you are done, you get your money at the end of the month.
But do you know where this plastic you are sorting goes to?
Well, after sorting them out, they crush them into different things. So, like the wig we use, the ladies use, and then the bowls we use at home. That's what they use.
Makafu Awuku, an environmentalist and entrepreneur, tackles plastic waste by implementing an innovative trash-to-cash model in Adenta, Fakra.
I went to a school where I have one of my receptacles. We have a partnership with Guinness Ghana where they are putting receptacles in schools so that we can increase recycling and responsible handling of plastic waste. So this is from the receptacle. After we installed it, we got about 80 kg of plastic waste from it in a few days.
Their recycling facility collects, sorts and processes plastic waste into reusable materials. The process involves collecting plastic waste from households, businesses and schools, sorting and cleaning it, and then shredding it into smaller pieces. The shredded plastic is melted and molded into various products such as chairs and desks for schools.
So the question I'm asking is how am I able to make the things cheap so that we can actually compete on the market and we can actually have our people to buy these things instead of importing things from Asia. So last week I made this chair from recycled plastics. Apart from the metal frame, everything else is pure water sachet and other colored shopping bags. Nothing else has been added. This is a smokeless process. And one of the things that I've been thinking about when I started working on this project is to get to a place where we will be able to provide classroom furniture to tackle the deficit of classroom furniture in schools. So I made this flower vase in 2018. I remember somebody telling me this thing is not sustainable, it's not durable, but I'm an innovator and I'm a design thinking person. So a lot goes into this. The inside is lined with plastic waste bags. And then there's a frame that takes the bottles, and it's been here since 2018 when I made it. So this is the footwear brand I was talking to you about. I launched this footwear brand during the pandemic. This is partly made from recycled plastic waste. Each footwear has 1 kg of plastic bags in it. And this is the material I was speaking to about. So this is pure water rubber that is turned into a sheet.
So I see Specialized. I see Ice Cool Voltic.
Yeah.
Okay.
The standard.
Then I see standard over.
It's quite exciting to see Ghanaians making such moves to help generate a sustainable environment, also promote a better climate and create employment. For the last gentleman that spoke, he is actually giving back to society by recycling the plastic waste into desks and chairs for schools.
I mean, these are the things you expect government to be supporting. I mean, when you have a government that boldly said it was going to make Accra the cleanest city within a period, you would have expected that some of these innovative ideas will be put to use. I mean, and I was looking at some numbers, and it will intrigue you to know that the country, that's Ghana, generates approximately 840,000 tons of plastic waste per year. And out of that, only 9.5% is actually collected for recycling, right? Like we saw the people do in the report by Fred Duo. And Nana, guess what? 8 million tons of plastic leaks into the ocean each year. And the World Economic Forum, this is from the World Economic Forum, and they state that by the year 2050, we might have more plastics in the ocean than fishes, right? So then when the fisherman goes to the sea to fish, the odds of a fisherman picking plastic with his net as compared to fishes was more likely with regards to plastic. So these are very serious numbers that we don't have to take lightly. And like I said, we have to be supporting groups like this. Global brands like Adidas, the Nikes, they use plastic in some of their new products coming up. So if we have a young innovator in this country who is making footwear, chairs, flower pots from plastic products, when we generate some, I mean, the raw material is already there, right? Some 840,000 tons per year. So I think government should take it up. The reasons why the floods in this country is perennial is the fact that our drains are choked with plastic materials, right? So government should take it up. Sanitation ministry, if I were in the ministry, if I were the chief director, I'm getting in contact with these people we saw in the report and see ways we can support them on a large scale, right? And like they said, we have to tackle schools where children sit on the bare floor to study. Imagine you're producing dexes with plastic for all of these schools in rural Ghana. It's progress you are making. So I want to commend the guys we saw. I think CESA Recycling Company, the name for the second report, skipped me, but I mean these are top Ghanaian ingenuity, and I'm proud that they've taken City TV's Make It Ghana campaign quite personal, and they are pushing in that regard.
Very important, very important. And you see, for the UN, on June 5 was World Environment Day, and the theme for this year is actually beat plastic pollution.
Yeah, it's the main thing.
And I think it makes a lot of sense because it's one of our major challenges.
It's a menace.
Yes.
It's a problem.
And you see, aside from the recycling bit that is creating employment for Ghanaians and all that, the dangers associated with our indiscriminate disposal of waste, it's just outrageous. And it's really a thing that we should look at as a people. I mean, we saw the Greater Accra Regional Minister make some moves, some initiatives, Operation Clean Your Frontage and all that. What has become of it? How strong is the support for such initiatives now? Is it even still in motion? You understand? We heard somewhere that he was charging his batteries coming back. Are the batteries not full yet?
The charger, no, it is.
You have to twist the cable small.
Twist the cable before
to power the thing. Exactly. Because we need some of these things, and we need to be forthwith with it. We need to be very deliberate about it. The environment, as it is now, we're losing it. Listen, we know we're entering the rainy season, but the amount of rains we are experiencing now, it's all due to climate change.
It's crazy.
When the sun comes out, the rate at which it scorches is due to climate change. And some of these are as a result of the environmental pollution we're seeing. You understand? I mean, we'll travel outside, spend hard-earned cash, dollars, to visit a beach somewhere. Meanwhile, God has gifted us the beach, and we are destroying it with waste.
I feel you.
You understand? We can save some of these dollars. I mean, the foreign exchange itself, the currency we don't have, and then we are changing the small cedis we have $2 to visit someone's country, thereby creating revenue for that person. When we could have spent same revenue here, even expanded our beaches.
Shoes they are doing has some element of plastic.
It's just so difficult.
I don't know why we struggle to grasp some of these things when the problem and the solution is just staring right in our faces.
Yeah, anyways, we hope that the powers that be will take cues from
the
this.
And someone sent a message and said the charger head is missing.
No, the charger head itself is missing.
The charger head is missing.
Then the battery may never be charged at all.
I don't know which head the person is referring to, but the person says the charger head is missing.
Whether it's literal or figurative, we don't know. Anyways, this is CNR Extra here on City TV. Still ahead. President Akufo-Addo vows to revive Ghana's ailing economy as Muslims mark Eid celebrations. We'll tell you more shortly. Don't go away.
The day of a competition. From the shores to the pools to the beaches across the land. If you fancy yourself a competitive swimmer, this is for you. The City TV National Swimming Championships is happening on the 15th and the 16th of July 2023 at the Trust Sports Emporium. To register, WhatsApp your name, age, and contact details to 0558 973 973 or call 0205 973 973. The City TV National Swimming Championships is brought to you by City TV with support from 97.3 City FM and the Ghana Swimming Association.
Welcome back. This is CNR Extra here on City TV. Now, Muslims across the world yesterday marked the Eid al-Adha celebration. The President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was at the Independence Square where the Eid prayers were held, and he spoke. Top of his speech was the ailing economy and his promise to revive it.
President Akufo-Addo has reiterated his government's willingness and commitment to working to bounce back the economic gains of the country. Ghana's economic fortunes have taken a nosedive in recent times, with government seeking a $3 billion IMF bailout package. Inflation rates have been on the rise, with the cedi losing its value against other major currencies. Now, speaking at the Eid prayers held at the Independence Square to mark the celebration of Eid al-Adha, President Akufo-Addo gave assurances of his government working assiduously to bring back the economy on track.
Inflation rates have been high, with the cedi losing its value against other major currencies. Despite attributions of the situation by government to the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war, many stakeholders have called for drastic measures to be taken to change the narrative. In view of this, President Akufo-Addo has assured that his government is working tirelessly to bring back the economy on its feet.
As you can see, we're beginning to navigate the turbulence, with our economy growing by 4.2% in the first quarter of 2023. The currency has seen some stability lately, and through the Gold for Oil program, we've seen the stability in the prices of petroleum products as well, all of which are helping to bring inflation down. Things are getting better and will get better, I can assure you. Muslim faithful, fellow Ghanaians, in the spirit of Eid, I ask you to continue to support the government, your government, to deliver the needed progress and prosperity that we all seek. I said at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic that we do not know how to bring back lives, but we know how to bring back the economy. I stand by those words. Inshallah, we're working to restore the economy to full health, and inshallah, we shall do so.
Meanwhile, Muslims during the Eid al-Adha celebration came together to commemorate this day to share the happiness that comes with the completion of a month-long period of fasting and reflection. To Muslims at Nima, it brought a sense of unity and spirituality. From bustling communities, particularly at Nima, the festive atmosphere was palpable as communities prepared to observe this significant religious day. To them, it was a time for exchanging heartfelt, strengthening bonds and a time to offer sacrifices to their Maker in exchange for blessings.
Today we are preparing a lot, so we are making omutsuo with kuka, baobab, that's baobab soup, and then we are making ayoyo, the green soup, and stew, and then jollof rice, and then we are sharing meat too. So today is everything about food. Getting to see this day is a special thing because some of us didn't get to see it, and some people even died this morning after the salat, and then a lot of things happen. So for you to see this day, you have to take everything that comes out of it. Yes. So it's very, very, very special for us.
This is the worship that Allah Ta'ala has put on us. And you can't be in Islam without knowledge. So seeking for knowledge is very important. And you see, when you are educated, nobody will come and lure you to go and do something that will not bring peace. Education will give you all that.
The celebration extends beyond religious boundaries, with people of various faiths joining their Muslim friends and neighbors. To them, it also provides an opportunity for acts of charity and giving back to the community. Cows are mostly slaughtered and its meat is shared to friends and families. However, when City News caught up with some Muslims at various sheep and cattle ranches, they raised concerns about the high cost of animals.
They say 5,000, something 6,000. So right now, the one I get, they say 4,000 like. So I tell her I'll give her 35, 3,500. It's too high. The price is too high. You say you are talking about the veterinary, the customer, the place where you bring it to Accra, the lorry fare, that's why the price go high.
Usually my original price like 1,002 or 1,001. But I beg the person then give me 1,003. I'm taking it to Amasamai, back of Amasamai, satellite, and kill it to my family. Because when I already take this one and go home, I can't enter home. Unless I take it to show my family and kill it to them today. Today, not tomorrow.
Raka the Salah to all our Muslims out there. When the president makes such statements, how does it make you feel? I mean, we saw inflation coming down, and now it's rising again. I mean, if you look at the current indicators of the economy, the president saying, is it still just this government? Are we still paying lip service to the economy?
This government's economic scorecard is there for all to see. I think there's no denying, and the numbers tell the stories even much better for us. I think it's important that the president still assures Ghanaians that there's hope and that there's actual work being done to revive things. The concern is that the concern for a lot of people is that the people who are supposed to have been at the forefront helping out with restoring the economy are so invested in the campaign right now that it seems like little attention is being given to it. So we hope that we are able to go back to address the structural problems of our economy so that things begin to look much better.
Let's deal with the basics, let's deal with the fundamentals and let the economy back.
I can't believe I didn't have any beats yesterday, and I have quite a number of Muslim friends.
We know a few we are going to attack after the show. Don't worry. We'll deal with them.
Rahim, Sly Kubuku, Kamel, Rashid Mume.
You guys have heard your names, so do the needful. But thank you so much, Jude Mensah, Duncan of the City News Show.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you out there for joining us, choosing City TV and joining us here on CNR Extra. My name is Nanatu Boati. Many thanks to you. Keep watching City TV.